Have you ever heard of a pasty? Do you know what a pasty is? Today I'm going to share the story of the pasty and how one of our family traditions growing up, and still to this day I guess, is to all of us go in the kitchen and spend the afternoon making I think we generally make around 30-ish pasties. Fun fact, growing up, since we have a big family, every meal that we made was like a huge pot of spaghetti or like a huge pot of soup or a ton of pasties. So of course it's a lot more work to make a lot more of a certain food. If you make food for two or food for four, it's like not that big of a difference. But if you make food for, should I say it? Should I say it? I haven't said it yet. Should I say it? Okay, I can say it. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not. Okay. Just something I haven't said before. For like 16 people. What kind of math is that? I was like, okay, I have 14 siblings plus 2 parents, so that's 16. What about myself? Oh my goodness. Try 17. It's a lot of peeling potatoes and cutting onions and chopping carrots. It turns into a lot of work. So when I moved out of the house and I started cooking for myself, that was one thing that held me back from cooking food, because I was just like, it takes forever to make meals. Like, how can I ever make my own food? But then as you go, you're like, oh, I can make a soup for 1 or 2. And it takes way less time to peel 4 potatoes than it does a whole 5-pound bag of potatoes. Hey, my name is Darz. Thanks for being here. On this channel, we talk about growth, which making food over time has been, wow, quite the growth journey for me. Getting out of your comfort zone, learning new things, and well, today it's about, let's learn about my pasty making from my Finnish roots. They say that the pasty is actually Danish, and that I don't know if technically then the Finlanders took the idea. Everybody, I think, so many different cultures have their own version of like a pasty, where it's a flaky crust with stuff inside, something you can eat with your hands, right? Our version of pasty is, and everybody has their personal preferences, right? But this is how we make them. Rutabaga, which I don't even know how to describe except that it's like this humongous, it's sort of like potato, but it's a little more yellow orangey, and it's super waxy on the outside, and it's really hard to peel and cut. It's like very hard. It must be a root vegetable, I guess. So yeah. Wow. I was reminding myself 100 times, but I forgot to mention, thank you so much to my sister for filming these clips, because when we are going to make the pasty, I was just like, there's no way I'm going to film and help, because when you're trying to film yourself, you just like go a lot slower, and I wasn't trying to do that. I was just like, let me just help. But she had other things going on, so she was able to film for me. So thank you so much to my sister. Also, soft introduction to my sisters and my mom. Enjoy. Peel and chop rutabaga. Peel and chop potatoes. Peel and chop carrots. And actually we have this grinder thing that we use. Instead of having to chop by hand everything, it makes it go way faster, which is very nice when you're making 30 pasties. Onion, put the onion through the grinder. You know, spices, salt, pepper, garlic. Peel and cut a bunch of garlic. I think that's it, right? Oh my gosh. It's embarrassing if I'm missing something, because I've made these all my life. And then you mix it all together with some ground beef and some people use like ground chuck, or they mix pork and beef or whatever the mixture is, but mostly just ground meat. You mix it all together in a pan with your hands. It's very lovely and gushy and slimy. And then the crust is basically butter and flour. I don't know. I'm terrible at making crust. I do not like making crust. Someday that is something I need to tackle, because I avoid things that I'm not good at. But my mom always makes the crust, and she's excellent at it, because if you overmix it, it loses its flakiness, and you need the butter to be just right and the consistency to be just right to make the perfect crust. And mom's crust is always the best. And then you roll out the crust, which again, this is something I did not want to do that day, because I'm just like, I'm so horrible at crusts, but I had to take my turn, right? I was doing it. And eventually by the time I made the 10th, I probably made less than that, honestly. I was so slow at it, so slow. But I might have made thinking about it, I probably made 6. Roll out that crust as thin as possibly, possible, put a scoop of the mixture inside, roll it over, do the little thingy thing on the edge, which is another thing that I was like, I'm terrible at this, I hate doing it. And then as I was doing it more, I was like, okay, I'm fine, it's fine, I can do it. And then you plop a bunch of those on a pan, you put them in the oven, you cook it for like an hour until the potatoes and the meat are completely through, done. Veggies have to be soft, meat has to be not red anymore, hopefully. And then you eat it. I like mine with butter on it. Most, like 90% of people or 99% of people that I know eat it with ketchup. I am not a ketchup person. No thank you. I just love it with butter, and it's just a delicious meal. So I guess back in the day, in the mining times, this was a very great meal for miners to bring for lunch because they had no way to heat up food. In the mines, they had no way to, like, going down underground, like miles and miles underground. And it's something you could eat with your hands because it's just like all tucked into one nice little crust. So lovely if you can eat it hot. You can also eat it cold. Great food to stick in the freezer and eat later if you have the willpower to save it for later. If you've never eaten a food in a flaky crust, like a meal, not just pastry and dessert, highly recommend it. Crusty meal in a crust. So yummy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you've ever eaten anything similar to this or if you have your own version in your own culture. Thanks for being here, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Woo!
You were supposed to keep it beeping so I could get it on video, but that's okay.